7:23, that's our time here on Sky 99.5 FM. And we continue to get opinions from legal luminaries with regard to the assessment by the DPP that perhaps the Prime Minister may have been a bit premature in terms of her statements with regard to the Emailgate matter and the sharing of evidence that would have been acquired during the investigation of the Emailgate matter. On the line with us is Martin George. He is a renowned attorney. He's a constitution expert as well and a member of the Police Service Commission. Good morning to you, Martin George. Thanks for linking up with us very quickly.
Yes, hi, good morning to you, Jessica.
Morning, Mr. George.
And good morning to your listeners on 99.5, and good morning to you, Edison.
Martin George, the last time we spoke with you, you were sounding a bit depressed and you were concerned in terms of developments in the Parliament where the censure and then suspension of the opposition leader was concerned. Yesterday, the DPP came out and expressed certain bits of information as well as opinions with regard to that whole matter, and basically saying that things were a bit premature and people were speaking out of turn, as it were. Your reaction to this latest development?
Well, Jessica, you would recognize that when I spoke last week and you asked me, you said, it's the first time you've ever heard me speak so strongly on an issue. And I told you that I was particularly disappointed in what I saw. And I gave some of the very reasons that the Deputy DPP has advanced, because I said it was premature, given the fact that the matters are still under active investigation by the statutory and constitutionally appointed bodies, being both the Police Service and the Integrity Commission, and that it was almost tantamount to an interference with the investigation, because you could not purport to be the subject of an inquiry and then you are now going into the Parliament waving documents that you purportedly got along the way. And even that is questionable as to how those documents reached the hands of the persons who spoke in Parliament, and then you are pronouncing and declaring yourself innocent. And then you proceed to make further findings on that, and then you proceed to suspend the leader of the opposition. It is mind-boggling. When people think of, the effect of Section 34 and, how that was really a dark day in our country's history, I think when one looks back at this in retrospect, you'll realize that this was also a very dark day in our history.
But
it
Mr. George,
it
could hardly be said that the Prime Minister came to an erroneous conclusion from the information she got from, let's say, the State Department and Google.
Well, Edison, clearly you are more qualified than I in these areas.
No, not really. No.
Could you listen to me, please? I would not be so presumptuous as to make any conclusion, because first of all, I am not aware of what exactly is the remit of the police service in terms of the investigation. In fact, I think the Deputy DPP shed some very interesting light in that she said the investigation is not limited to the four corners of the email. She said they are looking at issues of misbehavior in public office, which don't necessarily have to do with just looking at the words of the email and whether the emails themselves were genuine. So, as I say, maybe you are familiar with, more aspects of the investigation than I, and I would defer to, anyone who has such greater knowledge. But the thing is, I would prefer to respect the process and allow the investigating authorities to do their jobs and make their findings.
It sounds pretty weighty when she made that statement. It's not limited to the four corners of the email, and hinting at misbehavior in public office. That has an ominous undertone to it.
Obviously and clearly, it shows that in any pronouncement based on a letter from an attorney in the U.S. whom you have retained, who gives, first of all, some confused information in terms of dates, but we wouldn't harp on that. These things happen. That's a non-issue as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, that attorney is not in charge of the police investigation or the Integrity Commission's investigation. So I don't understand the relevance. And I say this with the greatest of deference and respect to the learned attorney and his findings. Of course, those findings are for his client, and his client is entitled to rely on those. But to use use that to then now try to juxtapose it on a decision of the police service and the Integrity Commission, that's where I think you cross the line.
This morning, the AG is saying, AG Garvin Nicholas is saying, he finds it passing strange and almost curious the timing of the statement from the DPP's office yesterday with regard to the matter.
Well, I'm not sure on what basis the learned Attorney General would say that, but given the fact that the matter is in the public domain and has been played out as it has in the Parliament, I think it would be remiss of the DPP's office if they did not make a statement at this time.
Did they take too long to make the statement?
Well, the thing is, one cannot say that they took too long, because at the end of the day, you would imagine that they would have wanted to carefully consider the circumstances before coming out. Because if you understand, the office of the DPP is one of the most insulated offices in Trinidad and Tobago. It wields tremendous power, so therefore they could never be seen to be acting rashly or capriciously. So therefore, if they take a few days before they issue a statement, I would imagine that we must give them that freedom so to do, so that when they speak once, they put an end to the matter in terms of what they have to say. Otherwise, you will just have a tit for tat, and then the office of the DPP would then be dragged into the mudslinging that is going on all around.
Martin George, we want to thank you for giving us a comment and your assessment of these developments, and we'll continue to monitor the situation with a microscope. Not a magnifying glass, an electron microscope.
Thank you very much, Mr. George.
Good morning to your listeners.
Okay, have a good day. Martin George, their attorney at law, constitution expert, and a member of the Police Service Commission, weighing in on recent developments with regard to the DPP statement, reaction by the Attorney General, and also expressing his concern that we have these developments taking place at all.